Hello everyone and welcome to the first 2018 Hearthstone Global Games broadcast. To my left is Lorinda. Your left?
Which left?
My name is Falcone, and Lorinda, we are back. How does it feel?
It feels great. It's been a long time since I was last in this studio, and I am really looking forward to the second and best season of HGG.
The second and best indeed. I believe it's been a full year since we wrapped up here in Katowice last time. But let's take a look at what today's schedule. Unfortunately, we don't have any matches just yet. They're going to come tomorrow, but we're going to have a little recap of last year's HGG, then look at the rules and the changes of this year's format.
Yeah, they're pretty exciting, actually.
They are very exciting. And then we're going to have an exciting interview with Pokrovac, one of the winners from last year. And then, this is the scary part.
Don't do it. Let's look away now.
We're going to pick out some questions from Twitch chat and hopefully
what could go wrong?
Give them a good little answer. But first, as we said, for those of you that did watch last year and for those of you that are new, we can all enjoy a little recap of what actually happened last year.
So last year was divided into 8 groups of 6 teams, 48 in all, the same teams as this year. Top 3 went through to the next stage. As you're going to see, quite a lot of action from those from last year. Sweden, one of the big disappointments last year that we're seeing there as well.
They were indeed. Almost just one team, just the Alliance, playing together, but unfortunately weren't able to get out of the first group. Something that I'm sure will change this year.
Right, they have Boston and Orange this time around. The other 2 members of Alliance sort of taking a break these days, so they didn't get voted in, but I think I expect Boston and Orange alone to do well, let alone the other 2 members of the team.
Another disappointment at first was China. They managed to pick it up a little bit later on, winning their group. But I believe they actually lost their first 2 series.
Yeah, they looked like they were just going to get dumpstered there, but this is the most important thing. United Kingdom obviously were fantastic last time around.
Oh dear. No, they were not. In fact, they took down Romania with them, as in order for Romania to qualify out of the first group, United Kingdom had to get 1 win in a series against Peru. They did not get 1 win in a series against Peru.
Yeah, and that was not the best way to impress RDU, but I think that Romania, again, they have a strong team this time around, but it was great to see Peru qualifying, not least because I can't say their country name particularly well. It amuses everybody, but it was showing that it's not just about the massive teams. Some of the countries with less known players do get a chance to showcase their skills.
One of the most massive teams was Russia, which at the time featured current world champion Pavel and Stanodachi, as we can see. You know, there was a solid team all around, but unfortunately, they too could not get out of the group.
Yeah, they got off to a flying start, but then, you know, Sottle had picked them. He was getting really cocky about how well they were doing. And that was the end of Russia, really. They started getting destroyed. You see how excited Austria were. They gathered at the Life Coach Mansion number 4 or something for that event and all got together every time.
Watching Austria was always fun for that very reason. Right. They got so excited when they won. Argentina and Australia, all of the A's in Group C. Some changes in the teams, though, this year. As we can see, Navi Oop will not be participating.
He will not, but PNC will. Australia have got Jowan / Akumaker at the helm, but PNC will be leading the Argentinian team. Well, Joaquin will be leading the Argentinian team. But they have Nalgaidan again and Pincher, who has come on leaps and bounds the last year. Argentina definitely one of the teams to watch out for. PNC just racking up top 16 after top 16 at the moment in tour stock.
It's pretty much improvements all around, right? Because last year it was focused on content creation and big streamers and big YouTubers. But this year it's all about the HCT points to qualify.
Right, and that's benefited some teams massively, you know, and we'll talk about that more later on.
Flurry from Team South Korea, which, as we all know, was Raven's pick to win the whole thing last year.
Yeah, got scarily close as well.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good for any.
We can't have Raven doing well in the picks. Hope he doesn't pick them again this year.
We cannot at all. Hungary versus Portugal up next. But it was a very long tournament last year, and that's one of the changes that we're going to see as we move into 2018 Hearthstone Global Games, as there won't be quite as many rounds as you're being shown right now. We're only going to do 8 weeks rather than 15, almost being chopped in half.
And every match will have a lot more riding on it, with it being Swiss, and we'll talk about the format changes again later as well. Just looking at Portugal there, they have a massive advantage, and they have Dr. Boom on their team.
Right, yeah, that's going to be a big advantage later on when a certain expansion comes out. Look at that, Glacier for Israel, Hunter Ace for Norway. These are some big names now in 2018 Hearthstone.
Right, so Glacier pretty much carried that Israel team, but he's brought a lot of them up with him. 3 of them remain from last year. That would be a dangerous team. Hunter Ace, I mean, we highlighted Zyrez a lot last year, and he had a long conversation with myself and one of the other casters saying, stop talking about me, start talking about Hunter Ace. This guy is insanely good. And we're like, who? Yep, Zyrez was right. Hunter Ace is a star.
Speaking of insanely good, this year's Canadian team have 2 Hearthstone World Championship competitors.
Yeah, Doc Pone and Purple both on the team, alongside Monsanto and, I'm so sorry, number 4 person. Jordude, who of course
we can't forget Jordude.
Yeah, Jordude's got votes on the team. One way to get voted on, if you get enough points to be on the ballot, is to set up a bit of a meme.
Yep.
Jordude decided to say, hey, the girl that I like has promised to go on a date with me if I go on the team. I believe he has since
He has,
that.
yes, I had a chat with him. She doesn't want pictures published, a little bit of privacy, but yeah, they've had their date. As we look at Groups G, and of course that includes Taiwan and now 2018 current world champion, it's Tom60229. They are going to do some great things this year.
Yeah, they have a really powerful team lined up as well. Half of Team AHQ on there as well. And I think that Taiwan, getting a lot more exposure, they're getting their own tour stops as well, which is helping the player base isn't just the players, it's the fans and such like, and they get open fan bases for those tournaments.
Yeah.
Open places to come watch.
Sadly, the home team, Poland. I call them the home team because we broadcast this production from Poland, right. Katowice.
And a very, very passionate production team it is too. When Poland win or lose, I'm sure you'll see very different graphics depending on what happens. We get shouted win in our ears. Good job, production.
I wish they'd put that out to the broadcast.
Novia here playing a bit of a weird deck. What does this deck do? No one plays this anymore, right?
Not entirely true, as Tyrate just won HCT Oakland yesterday with current Quest Rogue as 4/4s, not 5/5s.
Yeah, that's insane, right?
It's something to keep an eye on.
Something we thought had died, but we will probably be seeing some of that as this tournament progresses.
Philippines did a great job in this tournament as well. Another team which hasn't changed at all. I believe there's only 2 teams that haven't changed at all, and I feel as though those teams will have a slight advantage over the.
I agree entirely. I mean, the Philippines got to the next stage out of this really hard group, as you saw there. And a lot of that, I mean, they are powerful players, but was on literally how the team functioned as a unit so well. They didn't argue, they didn't do anything wrong. Waning Mood took responsibility for one of their losses early on and just said, the rest just said, don't worry about it, it's a team game.
Yeah, Sequenox, of course, I've got to mention this guy because he wowed us last year by being the first player in the tournament to bring Horror Priest, Bite-Sized Potion, Shadow Word, Horror, Control Priest, and we had no idea what we were casting at the time, but that deck has since done some great things.
Yeah, you saw from Gilgamesh's face there, he had no idea what he was playing against. So we weren't the only ones. Let the casters off on that occasion.
Prophet Velen Mage, of course.
Of course, why wouldn't you?
Stansifka sadly will not be present for the Czech Republic this year, nor will Czech Cloud. Again, the move from content creators into competitive players has punished them a little bit, as Stansifka has moved himself from competitive player into content creator.
It will be interesting to see if he still remains a part of that deck building process for the team.
I would like to think so.
Certainly, I know Fino, who did it last year for Greece, wasn't on the team, but he's now a member of the team. But they used to have people like in an internet cafe in Greece, basically, that someone put on for them, and Fino would go there every week and help them build their lineup.
Right.
So hopefully Sivka takes on a similar role this year.
Like I said, I really hope to see that. Netherlands versus South Korea. What a matchup this was. Netherlands being one of the last teams to get eliminated before the finals. Great lineup between the 4 of them. Again, not changed since last year. Yeah,
they're the only 2 teams with no changes, which is pretty surprising.
Yeah.
When you consider it's a public vote, but again, leaving out the content creators has meant that a lot more focus this time around on the winning, the things I like.
We just watched Kara Cute cast a Yogg Saram, which doomed her on board and fatigued her to death. That's always good to see. Won't be seeing that again this year, unless Unless the new Mage Legendary that gets a card from the past.
God, I mean, I think that the casters, when we saw Yogg-Saron's, always wanted bad things to happen to the caster of the Saron.
To the caster?
Not of the other caster. That's chat's job.
Yogg-Saron cannot touch us, Lorinda, thankfully, as Brazil takes down Taiwan. Again, we're going to be seeing Tom and his team this year. I'm sure they'll be doing some great things. And hey, Purify Priest, remember that deck?
There's so many things you're reminding of me here that I just don't want to remember. Interesting talking back there again about Brazil. They had a very powerful team last year, made the top 16. They have 4 different players this year. Race heading the way there, who has already qualified for all 3 Copa Americas. But even though it's a different team, Brazil is still a terrifying looking team. LATAM, their march towards sort of recognition is definitely basically complete at this point.
Speaking of terrifying, Team Greece was pretty terrifying in their own way. They were so loud and aggressive against each other, properly arguing about plays, but it really worked as they got very far into the tournament. As did Austria, but sadly, when you're matched against Calento, things aren't always going to go so well.
Yeah, Calento's quite good at this game, I've heard.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's pretty good. We get to the middle of this sort of second phase that generally sort of is great improvement on this year. We don't have this phase this time around.
I haven't talked about Italy yet. Italy,
okay.
My team, as the pure-blood Italian cap that I am, but Team Mexico as well. They did some incredible things, getting almost all the way through to the finals.
Yeah, the Mexican team, again, caster predictions and stuff, they just told us, well, they didn't tell us, they showed us how bad we were at that. That entire team getting a lot done. And 2 of them survived, and Yainis in particular was a little bit more of a meme last year, but he's already qualified for Copa once this year, put on a good performance there. He's their anchor this time around, and with the experience from last year, teams like Mexico, who we don't know so much about, could well be dark horses. I think it would be interesting to see which of those lesser-known teams do come through.
As we move into the top 16 bracket, again, it's changing this year, but this was single elimination at the time. Do you see how happy Hot Meowth looks then? Just waving his arms around, isn't that great?
It's the contrast, like he looked absolutely terrified a few seconds before.
As he often does.
As he often does, in fact. But because it's the top 16, some of these reactions getting more and more extreme as we go along.
Oh, Turner, Team Italy, just getting bloodlusted to death.
Did they nerf this card? I haven't seen it for a while.
Bloodlust in Shaman? Hagatha spits it out occasionally.
Okay,
but,
that would work.
If it did get nerfed to 6 mana, I think you'd be seeing it a lot more.
Yeah,
actually.
I feel you could definitely just buff those. I don't understand why you don't play it in Shaman anymore. Lala Song, another one who provided with a lot of entertainment, but I won't miss his player question response form because it filled up like half of one of the 20 million pages. I always had to scroll through Lala Song. I won't forget him in a hurry.
Was he trying to make a song out of it? Was that it?
I think he just went la 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 la.
Oh, now this was the game of the tournament for me. Tyler getting that 1 in 6 lethal against Lox. Look at their faces, how shocked Loxodontus was.
And what you don't see there is how they played for that 1 out for several turns beforehand. Like you and Cora, I believe, were casting it.
Right.
And you're talking about...
It was a full reverse sweep as well, right? It wasn't just that game. The series was incredible.
Yeah, I think you guys did say that, and they played for that. Another card we won't be seeing much of in this tournament, thank goodness, Eater of Secrets.
Or any of.
There's no secrets to eat anymore unless you're playing as Hunter.
That's true. That's true. There are quite a few Hunter Secrets. But Amnesiac doing what Amnesiac does, getting the lethals and working their way towards the finals. And sadly, this was the last series for Team Netherlands, as again, Calento, the man is just a machine. He just took them down.
Yeah, Calento goes missing for periods of time where he just concentrates on his stream or a new game that sometimes fascinates him for a while and then goes back again. Always comes back to Hearthstone, though, and always proves to be one of the best.
Top 4 players, teams rather, Czech Republic, United States, South Korea, and Ukraine. They made it all the way through to the finals, which took place at Gamescom last year. And oh my goodness, it was a fun event. The atmosphere was awesome. There were Lich King Tavern Brawls to play, as well as Knights of the Frozen Throne had just come out. But the first match was South Korea versus Ukraine. And unfortunately for Raven, who was casting the series, Ukraine did take this one, make their way all the way through to the finals.
I felt that that event as well set the stall for the World Championships. It was like the first really big crowd you guys had, and just felt like that was like the trial run for the World at the same time as being a fantastic event in its own right.
the banana eating contest that we went through very, very quickly there, Stan Cifka versus Amnesiac, but Czech Republic took it away, and the grand finals. Now, this was a close series. I have very fond memories of watching this one, sitting next to Gaskin and Benbro, talking through the plays, and yeah, eventually Stan Cifka and the Czech Republic took this one down. They are the 2017 Hearthstone Global Game champions, but will they be the 2018 Hearthstone Global Game champions?
We made a big deal about how they've lost Cifka, but they've gained Faley, who is one of the most well-performing players of the year this year. Findown, they are going to be absolutely fine this year. They've still got Yala, they've still got Pokovac, and they are the two massive points earners on the team. They're the real grinders. Cifka's the mad scientist genius behind it all. But these are the guys who are sort of grinding week in, week out.
I like that idea of Cifka as a mad scientist.
Science!
But anyways, we will get into our predictions for this year a little bit later. First, as we said, a lot has changed between last year and this year. The fact that we've only got, again, 8 weeks rather than 15, and also the in-match format has changed. To tell you a little bit more about that, we've actually got TJ, so let's take a watch.
The Hearthstone Global Games is a massive tournament featuring 48 national teams in a truly unique format. So let's dive into the details and what's changed from 2017. Last year, for the first round of play, we saw teams face off in a group stage where the teams were divided into 8 groups consisting of 6 teams each. This year, in order to give the competition a truly global feel, we are changing the format into a Swiss-style tournament for all 48 teams. A Swiss tournament is essentially one big group, where the matchups in each round are determined by the overall match record of each team. For example, in Week 3, after each team has played 2 full rounds, the teams that have a 2-0 record will face off against one another. After 6 rounds of play, the top 16 teams in the Swiss standings will advance to Stage 2. In Stage 2, the teams will be separated into 4 groups of 4 and play in a double elimination dual tournament format, also referred to as GSL-style groups. The top 2 teams from each of those 4 groups will advance to the Hearthstone Global Games Finals. The winners will take home a whopping $50,000, with second place receiving $40,000 and third place $30,000. Now let's dive into the match format. For the 2018 Hearthstone Global Games, we are staying with a 9-class format. However, we are slightly changing the process for selecting classes for each match, and that process has 2 phases. In Phase 1, the teams decide which 5 classes they will be playing during their best-of-5 match. To do so, the captains begin by choosing in secret a class to ban away from the opposing team. Once these bans are revealed to each team by the admin, both teams then choose 2 classes that they want to play for the match out of the remaining 8. This process continues with 2 bans and 2 picks each, until there are no classes remaining in the pool, and each team has 5 classes that they will play for the match. In Phase 2, the teams decide which order they will play the classes that they've chosen. Both teams communicate, again in secret, who will play Game 1 and which class they will use. After both teams have deliberated, the admin will simultaneously reveal these picks to each team, and this process continues until the lineup is complete for the best-of-5 series. The Hearthstone Global Games is shaping up to be a truly epic event. One country will stand above the rest, so let's let the games begin.
We've got a lot of countries going to be competing this year, and of course they've had to get used to this new format. Lorinda, what are your sort of first impressions? We haven't cast any games yet, but we've had to have a good think about it.
There's a lot more going on in the design and the pick ban phase now. You want to try and manipulate the lineup so you've got a better lineup than your opponents, as in any Hearthstone. However, for that to happen, your opponents have a lot of say into how to stop that from happening. So Do you want to bring 9 aggro decks to make sure you get an aggro lineup? Because if you only bring 8, they'll leave the other one up. It's going to be very difficult to know how to build a lineup. Do you just bring the best deck from each class and hope it does its job? Going to be interesting to see how everybody approaches it. And asking around, I'm hearing a lot of, we think we've got it right, but nobody's even telling the casters how it's going to work for them, I don't think.
They are being very tight-lipped. I've also been asking a lot of the players myself, and they're excited for the new format. They want to prove that they've, cracked it.
Right.
But it's a big secret for the time being. Now, let's take a look at all of the countries that will be competing in the Hearthstone Global Games. It's actually the same group of countries that competed last year, so there's not going to be any big surprises here. But now we've got to talk about my favorite section. I think this is the most important part of the whole tournament, really, and that is caster predictions. Lorinda, why don't you explain how we've done this?
So we did a very quick draft. We started, there's 6 casters for the event. We start off 1 to 6, 6 to 12. 7 to 12, how numbers work, and we just picked the teams. If I picked a team, the people behind me can't pick that team, and Sottle's in the draft, and everybody hates the fact that Sottle always wins, and he wins most of these things by stealing my picks. So I got first pick. So good luck, Sottle.
Good luck to Sottle. Yeah, it's very different to last year where we sort of didn't have our set in stone pick. So we sort of half-heartedly picked a team and supported it, and you picked 3 because you're a cheat. But this year we decided to do an official draft format. So at the end, we will truly know which caster had the right idea. So first up to pick was actually yourself. Who did you go with, Neil?
I went with Norway, Team Nordavind, the entire team basically here. By the way, Jarla is on Team Nordavind, who are currently the champions. So, let's not miss that out. But yeah, I went with Norway because they're the best team and they're going to win.
That's fair. Then next up was Raven, and of course he went with South Korea again. Honestly, I'm not sure why he has this.
He just likes South Korea as a place. He also loves Surrender.
He also thinks they're just a good team, right? Like last year they had Kranich, this year Surrender. There's nothing to scoff at there whatsoever. Next up, Derek picked Germany, and that's no real surprise whatsoever. We're talking Bunny Hopper, the summer champion. Viper just qualified for Worlds. Sinto was at the championships last year, and Seiko's very well-known great player.
Yeah, Germany with a lot to prove this time around. Unfortunately, they've got to prove that Derek is right, which is always a bit of a mixed blessing.
Well, you know who I don't think is right, and that is the next pick, which is Dan Gaskin with the United Kingdom.
We stitched him up. Dan was asleep when we did the draft, so I'm like, I think he'd like to pick the UK. He's from there. What could go wrong?
To be fair, he did seem pretty happy with the pick.
And they do have a better team this time around.
They do.
But we won't dwell on the fact that the UK's probably going to win everything.
Then it was my turn to pick, and I went with the Netherlands, just because I think that the fact that their team hasn't changed, they did such a great job last year. The players have all been consistently playing ever since. They've not gotten any worse. I think they're in a very good position to win this tournament.
Yeah, even Ty's proved recently that he can just still do it. Just enter the qualified for Germany, won, qualified, job done, move on.
Finally, there was Sottle. Now, you say Sottle always wins, but he didn't do that great last year with Russia. He actually gave me a statement to read accompanying his pick there on screen.
Let's go for that.
We'll read it. Since football failed to come home, it is clear that the only result of this one true timeline is that HGG is coming home. Home in this case, of course, being the home of Blizzard Entertainment, the USA.
Thanks, Sottle. That was great.
That was
moving speech from Sottle.
And that's pretty much all we have to say on the matter. Next up, we gave production a pick. And of course, we are here in Poland. So who are they going to pick? They're going to pick Poland. I was expecting like confetti to go off on the screen then, actually.
Yeah, we've been joking with production all day. They were going to put confetti on the screen. I really do agree that I'm surprised it didn't. But yeah, moving swiftly on to the next round. I'm sure Poland will have their moment.
Sottle actually went with Finland. Now, I know this is a pick that you had your eyes on as well.
Yeah, just couldn't turn down Norway as #1. But Finland works so well together as a unit, not just the main 4, but 8 or 9 players. Zump obviously taking down DreamHack Winter, and then Vardu just recently having a fantastic result, losing only to Hunter Ace, which is why I had to pick Norway ahead. And Finland just works so well together. They always have some goofy tech that you look at and go, what a load of rubbish, and then you see it played and you're like, oh, goofy tech Finland is indeed Winland, as Yanetsky christened them maybe 1 year too early?
I went with Italy. Of course I did. I am, after all, as Sottle is often saying, a pure-blood Italian. But no, seriously, I think they're even in a better position this year to win the tournament. They were a bit of an underdog before, but they managed to win, I think, their first 4 games in a row in the first group. And now they've still got Turner, and Turner's achieved great things since almost qualifying for Worlds.
Pool H has been getting a lot more exposure, so has Meliador now as well. They're a lot more comfortable in front of the camera than 12 months ago, including Turner.
And then Skak is the anchor, and we've not mentioned him yet, so it's a solid team all around. Next up, Gaskin went with Ukraine.
And he actually picked Ukraine himself as well.
He did pick Ukraine.
Don't worry about the caption. We'll worry about that.
Don't worry about the caption. I don't think we've updated production. We thought we were going to give him Sweden.
Whatever. It was messy, and he woke up in time to get a second pick. So he's gone for Ukraine. I mean, they have Kalento. I don't know if that's his reason, but it's a reason that I like.
That's a really good reason.
They also have Novea.
Derek picked Taiwan. And Taiwan has Tom 602.
Yeah, I mean, why not have the world champion in your team? That seems like a reasonable strategy there from Derek. He's already got 2 of the players from this year's World Championships. One who won last year's. That seems like he's going for the world champion strategy. So best of luck to Derek on that. Makes sense.
Next up was Raven, and I'm going to struggle here. It's South Korea, but that was the first
I don't remember whose second pick was.
Okay, I think Raven was Canada.
I think it was as well, but I think it's better to say he just picked South Korea twice because he likes them that much.
He does like them a lot. I'm pretty sure Raven's second pick was Canada, and again, we've already highlighted 2 World Championship competitors. Like, what's not to like about that?
Dotpo and Purple both played at the World Champs, and when you're anchored by Monsanto, you're in a good spot.
And finally, Lorinda, your final pick.
This pick was difficult for me as a choice. There's still like so many teams on the menu here. There's the Czech Republic, the champions. There's France. There's Denmark. These teams are fantastic. But I can't desert Chalk and the boys and girls of the Philippines who christened me APAC Dad last year. So it is the Philippines once again for me, and this time they're going to win it all.
So to sum up, Lorinda, Norway, Philippines, Raven, South Korea, Canada, I think. Derek, Germany and Taiwan, Gaskin, UK and Ukraine, really testing me here. Myself, Netherlands, Italy and Sottle, USA and Finland. And production, Poland. They are the caster picks for this year's Hearthstone Global Games. Who will win?
None of those teams.
Probably none of those teams. All right, well, next up, this is where it gets really exciting. Let's take a look at the schedule for tomorrow's matches. It's going to start out with Japan versus Sweden, then South Korea versus Turkey, and then Indonesia versus Team Nordavind, also known here as Norway.
Possibly match of the day, not just because it's my pick, but France and the Philippines. France this season are going to be incredibly strong.
France was your, second pick.
I mean, I was on the verge of flipping a coin between these 2. It's just literally loyalty to the Philippines that I couldn't go with. France absolutely racking up the points. You needed more points to get nominated for the French Global Games team than you did to get into playoffs in the season that came up.
That's absurd. That
it really is.
To finish the day, we've got Belgium versus the home team Poland, and then Croatia versus Ukraine. So a great way to start off the tournament. But now we have a question for you, Twitch chat, because we'd like to know who you think's going to win, Japan or Sweden. To vote, all you have to do is type Japan or Sweden into the Twitch chat.
That easy.
It is as simple as that. And I was just about to say, Lorinda, who do you think is going to win? I don't want to, influence the votes. Clearly you do. So I'm going to say Japan just to even it out. Who do you like more, Falcone or Lorinda, Sweden or Japan? Make your decision. While we get those votes together, we actually have an interview to show you. We had a chat with Pokrovac, one of the members of the Czech Republic last year. So one of the reigning champions of the Hearthstone Global Games. And we decided to have a look and see what he thinks about this year's tournament.
My thoughts on Season 1 of AGG. It was a pretty good tournament. I was really enjoying it, and we were a really good team and worked together pretty hard to do our best. So I'm really glad that it paid off and we won it. But it was a really long tournament, and I think there was a little bit more rounds than to be perfect. So I hope this year, I don't know if it changed or not, but it was a little bit longer than I would be happy to be. The difference between playing just by yourself or playing with a team is, I think, really huge, because when you are playing with a team, you have 4 opinions and just something like 80 seconds to do it. So not everyone can say what they think, and you have to choose one captain who is calling the play, and then others say what they think about it. Because if everyone would say their opinion or what they would do, then it would be a mess. So it's really complicated to take the best strategy to choose the best play, and that was in our team last year. It was really perfect. So this year we are taking the same strategy as last year, and I hope we will do really good in tournament. About the format this year, I think it's slightly better because first it's shorter and I like it. Secondly, the format is not that about creative deck building, and it's much more about playing well. It's much more about do the best lists and not trying to take advantage or for like doing creative new stuff, but it's much more about playing the stack lists, and I'm just much more better player when it takes on the plays and not the deck building, and because deck building is my slightly weakness. But so I'm looking forward to this year because I think I will be much more stronger in this year. I think this year for finalists versus us, I would choose probably Denmark because they are going really well, and I think there is Hoy's brother, and they are a really strong country, and they are really growing up as players, and I think that's one of the strongest country in this year.
It's kind of strange thinking about it, actually, that none of us picked the Czech Republic as our prediction this year.
Yeah, it is interesting, especially with still 2 strong players as Jarlo and Pokovac on the team. And he's saying that, you know, he's not a deck builder himself anyway, so it's almost saying we don't need Sivka.
Right, he's saying that with this format, deck building is less important. I have to disagree with him, especially as, if you do the maths here, this tournament's going on for 8 weeks. There's going to be a few weeks of break in between. Isn't something supposed to happen at some point in the next month or so?
More science!
Exactly. Great news, everyone. We have results of your poll earlier. Sweden or Japan? Let's see what Twitch chat says. They say Sweden is going to take this one away. And
that surprises me because it's harder to spell. It's more letters.
What are you saying about Twitch chat right now?
Would I?
But that doesn't surprise me too much if we're being serious. We're talking Orange, we're talking Boston. Again, have to give a shout out to the Dusky Boys, that practice group. Just keep impressing everyone. Hunter Ace has just won his 2nd tour stop recently. And
yeah, I mean, Orange has also done great things. Coming 2nd in the Gold Series in particular was just insane.
Right. Orange dominated in China, didn't he?
Yeah, I think that they're going to be good.
So we have one more poll for you, and it's going to be France versus the Philippines. Here's where spelling might
It's a real spelling test this time.
Guys, you know what to do. Type in chat France if you think France is going to win. Philippines if you think Philippines is going to win. Lorinda, I mean, you did say you had to basically flip a coin between these 2 picks.
I did, and I think actually, if I was going for absolute team strength, I think France probably do have the edge on that one. But home is where the heart is and all that. I want to go with the Philippines to win. But France have won enough this summer already in different events.
True. So now is the part of the broadcast that I've been dreading a little bit. Right, we have picked out some questions from you guys in Twitch chat, or we haven't. We've been doing this. Production, other casters have been picking them out, and hopefully we can give you some good answers. So production, hit us with the first question. Why is the in behind us empty?
Why is he in behind you? Because Sottle's here.
That's actually not a bad argument. I don't think we've mentioned this yet, but Raven and Sottle are here in the studio somewhere as well. They're going to be casting the first week of broadcast with us. And yeah, I guess he's scared all of the patrons away.
Yeah, he's probably serving.
Everyone not getting in here today.
He scared all those patrons away as well. We haven't seen any since he played that deck.
Production, do you have a second question for us? For you. This is a good question for you, I think, Lorinda. Why is Swiss better? I know it's a very popular opinion amongst Hearthstone players.
There's several reasons. First of all, it gets it done quickly. But the main reason is you don't end up with useless matches. If teams are out of contention, they don't have to play against a team that might win a group. So a team that's 3-1 can be playing a team that's bottom, and that can affect everybody else's standings, and the team who's bottom don't care. So every match has the same level of importance for both teams, and it gives you plenty of chances. You can lose twice and still be in this tournament in one round, and then in the top 16 you can lose another time. So not only are the matches important, but they're fair, and it's just a great way of sorting quickly who's the best and who's not.
I think Swiss is something that in general Hearthstone players have been really fighting for, and over time it's becoming more and more an accepted format, and I'm very excited to see that in the Hearthstone Global Games this year. Do we have any more questions from Twitch chat production? If so, let us know. If not, please let us know that as well, because... Okay, nothing's... Oh.
Up to you, Dan.
What is the context of this question?
Well, shall we just pause for a minute and let Twitch answer this themselves? There we go.
I don't think anything else needs to be said.
Sure.
Thank you for that one, Twitch chat. All right, well, that is us done for the first Hearthstone Global Games community show. We're going to be doing this every Monday at the same time, so make sure you tune in again next week. But before you tune into that next week, there's actually the main part of the Global Games, which is the Global Games. And we're going to let you know right now the schedule for this week. So first up is, firstly, tomorrow, we've already looked at this one, but Japan, Sweden, South Korea, Turkey, you've seen this. But we're going to give you the start times of every day of the broadcast this week. So tomorrow, I only know it off the top of my head in CEST. Tomorrow it's going to start 10 a.m. CEST. There we go. Central European summertime. Wednesday, 4 p.m. and Friday, good luck us, 3 a.m.
The eternal grind of a caster to get up at that time.
And now you can see the times in Korean Standard Time, and then you can see the time after that in American time as well.
The reason that one of the days is so crazy is so that people in other regions can actually watch it in their own time zone as much as possible. Obviously, Swiss makes that interesting from week to week, but in general, you'll be playing at decent hours in your own time zone.
So Monday, Tuesday, Monday's the community show. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday/Friday, depending on where you are in the world. Apparently, we have another question, so we'll answer this one as well.
How many matches until a team qualifies to go through in this section? You need to have one. You can't lose 3, basically.
Okay.
So in 8 rounds, if you can go 6 and 2, you will go through.
There you go. I'm very...
No, 6 rounds, you'll go through if you go 4 and 2.
Okay. I'm very, very glad that I've been paired with Lorinda for this, because you are the expert when it comes to Swiss and results and things like that. Before we go, let's take a look at the final results for the poll. Philippines versus France. And wow, France going to take that one, apparently.
Yeah, you've all failed your spelling test. In fairness, France have an extremely powerful community as well. I'm not surprised. There'll be a lot of French people in the chat voting, I should think. And again, France, likely the favourites in that one. I'm not surprised at all. I'm disappointed, though, in your chat. I thought you'd back me up more. Well,
this time we are finished. You know everything you need to know about the Hearthstone Global Games. If we've missed anything, you can aggressively tweet at us, and we will inform you of what the answer is. But for now, we hope you're looking forward to the games tomorrow as much as we are. We'll see you then.